Oh, they've done it! Steven Tirada, an instant hero! Can you believe this? Plenty attacking! No! The comeback is complete! A stunning second half from Schalke!
Blau und Weiß, ein Leben lang. Herzlich willkommen zurück auf Schalke America. I'm your host, Richard Carmen, here for another episode of Schalke America, episode 202. So much has happened in our lives and Schalke lives over the last couple weeks here. So it's been a crazy, tumultuous ride here for Schalke. But it is what is. We are used to this by now, right? It seems like an every year kind of an occurrence here, but yeah, it's one of those things, right? We can't avoid it apparently. But anyway, no Jack Mangan tonight. A little bit of a derby for Jack and I. We're rivals tonight. His Chicago Bears, who suck, going against my Washington Commanders, who suck, and so naturally, as rivals tonight, this video encapsulates what Jack and I are actually like tonight.
Go fuck yourself.
True story. That is Jack and I tonight. Bitter enemies tonight. It's a Thursday night football for those in the United States, but let's get on to the matters at hand. Eric Glukauf, a lot to get into tonight with Schalke. So much has gone on over the last many days here. First off, since our last podcast, Thomas Rice has been let go. That came as a surprise, and it's a surprise not the fact that he got let go, is that he got let go now. Schalke historically seems to wait too long to fire their managers. We saw this 2 years ago. We saw this. It's just a reoccurring thing. It happened last year as well, and the year before that. And Jack and I talked about this on the last podcast that said, watch out for the next few games. If Rice doesn't get his act together, you could see him exiting. And it turned out it was a couple games, it was a couple days. And we knew that there was some discontent in the background with Schalke. We didn't know at what extent it was, at least being from afar, right? We're not there training every day, like some of our friends like Schalke Corner and a lot of our friends over there in Germany. But we knew it wasn't all peaches and apples over there, right? It was something going on in the background. Obviously, Baumgartel came out right after the game and said, hey, the tactics aren't working. Basically, screamed at the manager saying that they don't know what they're doing defensively. We're making it look like a shit show. And I'm paraphrasing. Of course, he didn't use those exact words. He subsequently gets suspended, right? Rice and management said, Rice said, suspended for that. You can't be making your comments like that against the manager. And the supervisory board, the management team behind Rice said, we agree with you 100%. You cannot do this. This is against Schalke policy. And then 48 hours later, Thomas Rice is raus. He's gone. And we're like, wait a minute. You just backed this dude to suspend one of your players for talking about you, and then you get rid of him. What's going on here? What's going on? And so obviously Knappen and I think Heckelman were in the press conference midweek. It happened like on a Wednesday last week, and said Thomas Rice is out, and for the time being, Matthias Kreutzer is the manager, and he'll be supported by the same guys as always, right? And so we're like, okay, we've seen the song and dance before. Kreutzer did fantastic for us at the end of the season prior with Buskins and Asamoah. All right, well, Kreutzer's our manager. Okay, I guess that's what's going to happen, right? Going to the Paderborn match, thought we'd have some kind of boost, right? Sometimes there's that new manager bump, and when Buskins and Kreutzer take over, usually there is that bump, right? It seemed to take a game before it usually kicks in. It certainly didn't happen against Paderborn. Lost that game 3-1. It really could have been a lot worse than that. former Schalke player, as it always happens when we play a former Schalke player, they score against us. And so Felix Platt scored against us. Didn't celebrate, that's nice of him. But looked terrible in the game. The only guy, Kabadai, scored a goal in consolation late in the game to make it to save some kind of face, I guess. So he still lost 3-1. Poor showing by Schalke. There was some discontent. Obviously, Kreutzer after the match said, hey, the fan reactions, I completely understand the fans. I like that about the Ruhr area and at Schalke. They're honest, they're direct, and there's nothing else to say. Schalke played poorly. The manager for Paderborn said, hey, Schalke started out well, but, obviously we took control. We ended up dominating the rest of the game, which are facts. We're going to get into Knappen a little bit, but, part of what the growing discontent with Knappen is, and I'm talking about Peter Knappen, is like comments he made like immediately after the game, right? And so he was in the mix zone, and he's talking about Kabadai's goal, the long goal that Schalke scored. He says, hey, if Yusuf Kabadai keeps going, sticks with it, and is a role model for those who actually should be, then he speaks volume. But I wholeheartedly begrudge him the fact that he scores the goal because he never gives up. And people are like, okay, why are you basically lambasting your own team and, bigging up this lone player, obviously a youngster who's playing really well, but he's basically going on this freaking tirade and we're like, what's going on here? So Knappen is not in the best of places now here with Schalke fans. Old friend of the team, Franky Kramer. Of course, he likes to get back inserted into the limelight because no one's talking about him anymore. But he was interviewed by Kicker, and he says he harshly criticized Peter Knappen. He says he followed Knappen's press conference after the Rice firing, and he asked himself, hey, what did the board do about it? What did they do to support the coach? How did the high sporting officer counteract? It was asked about Knappen's angry speech after the Paderborn game, and Kramer said, apparently the sporting leadership chose the wrong players. A sports director has to face his responsibility. So he's putting the blame back on Knappen, saying, hey, you chose the players. Don't blame the players. You're the one that chose them. You have to face responsibility. Take accountability for yourself. We'll get back to the supervisory board in a little bit, but not the greatest of moments for Schalke. It has to say, talk about some more bad news, if you want to call it that, I guess. Obviously, Asano Odraogo is a youngster, 17-year-old, playing for Schalke, right? He has a younger brother. Everyone knows about his younger brother. Everyone's seen his younger brother at the games, cheering on his brother and, hoping his brother scores goals, whatever. Well, as Schalke Canada puts it, the vultures are circling already. Putting out a tweet said, Asan Drago's father and little brother were guests of Roven Schroeder at yesterday's Leipzig defeat in the Champions League. So Roven Schroeder, old manager, is trying to get some of his old acquaintances over on his side, on the dark side over there at Rasenball Sport, which is we do not want to see that, right? But we've seen this before, the song and dance before, right, with other players. But let's see. Maybe he's trying to find a way to convince Asan to get over to Leipzig as well, to be seen. But on a bit of good news on the flip side, talking about some of our players. Looks like Ferman, Taroda, and Cisse are all back on the training with the team. Latza was training the other day by himself, so he's almost back. We need that depth. Karaman's close. I mean, a lot of guys are close. Last month's playing as well. I think Karaman actually played a little bit in the last game, but we need depth. We're hurting. We're certainly not stable at the moment. We're can't seem to have our head on straight at all. You thought that with the Kreutzer and Buskins leading the charge, it would help a little bit, and it didn't help at all. The team looked dysfunctional, to say the least, against Paderborn, and now with some games coming up ahead. Look at the schedule ahead. We got Hanover on the 28th of the month. I forgot who we're playing this weekend. We got Nuremberg on the 4th of November. Then you got Elversberg, and then Dusseldorf and Osnabrück. So those are the next 5 games. If you want to make things worse, we had a draw for the DFB Pokal. Obviously, we won the last game against Braunschweig. We wonder who would we get? Would we get a minnow, or would we get a bigger team, someone in our own division again? And it was the latter. We get to play St. Pauli, a team who kicked our butt recently. Get to play them again. And the game will take place October 31st or November 1st. I haven't seen if they finalized that yet, but it's going to be the end of the month. So we have some time to lick our wounds after the international break, get things straight. Hopefully a manager will be able to take care of this. But having a full complement of players back at the disposal will help a lot. Those games against your same division opponents are never easy. Whether you're in a Bundesliga, Zweite Liga, Dritte Liga, doesn't matter. It's always difficult. So, we're looking for a manager. And that's obviously going to take the headlines. But I started hearing rumors that Alex Heffer came out and said that we found a new CEO and we reached an agreement. Wait, what? We were looking for a new CEO? Says he'll be presented shortly during the international break. So the international break is coming up, not this weekend, but the following weekend. And then he asked about Knappen and said, hey, this is a topic that we'll address calmly as soon as the acute challenges have been resolved. The decision is open. When the new coach and the new CEO are there, we have to calmly analyze what the problem was and what things we still need to adjust, especially in the sporting aspect of it. So we're looking for a new CEO and obviously a new manager. Wait, what? I thought Kreutzer was the manager. Huh? What's going on here? One of the rumored CEOs was Raphael Brinkert. And there was an interview with who was it? Who was the interview with? I want to say it was with Andreas Ernst, but basically, the interview says I'm not going to become the CEO of Schalke. Ernst talked to him about the offers that Schalke gave, about the Schalke situations, the tasks at hand, and it's basically, why would you want to come into a firestorm or a fire bin like this? And so Brinker's like, yeah, not for me. So if you're thinking he was on your short list, he is not going to be the one there. So, but going back to Alex Heffer, he talked about the CEO, but he also talked about the coaching. What kind of coach is he looking for? And he says, the new coach's profile, we're looking for someone who has enough experience to be able to stabilize the team directly because the team is unsettled. No shit, Sherlock. That was seen in Paderborn. That's what the new coach should do, is bring a clear game idea for our squad and develop the players individually. Okay, it doesn't say much really there, right? It doesn't give us a hint of who it might be. And an idea for and I said, who is looking for and there, basically the follow-up question to that was, who's actually going to be looking for the coach? Whose job is it? And it says, well, the sports management is around Peter Knappen and Andre Heckelman. Together with the sports committee, will form a commission that works closely together. Yuri Mulder, in particular, can be a great support with his network. So it's going to be a collaborative effort here. But are they all on the same page? We've seen in the past where they were not on the same page, right? In particular, when the name Ralf Rangnick came to call in, and one of the main reasons for him not joining is the friction between the power that Rangnick wanted and the power the supervisory board didn't want to give up. It just clashed, and Rangnick said, "Hey, I'll come if you change majority of the supervisory board, and then I'll come join you." Obviously that wasn't going to happen, and Rangnick never came, right? And I think he works at Austria now or somewhere, coaching as a national team there. So it's going to be a supervisory effort. Now, what are some of the names to fill Thomas Rice? Obviously, Kreutzer's you would think Kreutzer's going to be the guy, but chances are probably no. Booskins, I doubt he'll do it, right? They're not going to do Asamoah. We had a young man who was coaching the youth team who we let go to, where did he go? Bayern or Leipzig, or he went somewhere. I don't remember where the guy went. And the name is escaping me at the moment. But he's no longer a choice. I think he went to Dortmund for fuck's sake. Anyway, some of the names that are mentioned. Marcus Gistol is the manager who most recently managed Lokomotiv Moscow. Before that, Hoffenheim and a couple other teams here and there. Not a sexy pick by any stretch of the imagination. If you're looking at someone who's going to stabilize the squad because they're unsettled at the moment, he could do it. All his teams were 500. If you want to just be a Zweite Liga team, I guess that's the guy you go for, right? I don't know too much about him outside of what I've seen from a distance. And all his teams who for the most part, have been this 500 teams. Now, if you're a fan of Marcus Gasol, let me know. Let us know in the comments, either here on the chat or on our YouTube page or even on Twitter. Let us know. Do you like him? If you do, tell us why. Hey, we're willing to be open and listen to it, but I'm not too enthused about this pick. Moving on. Obviously, every time you talk about Schalke manager, one of the names that always comes up is Senor Raul Gonzalez, legendary Schalke player, right? With his stint with Klaas-Jan Huntelaar. And so naturally, people say, "Hey, what's Raul doing these days? How is he doing with the Real Madrid B team?" And so Raul came out and said, "Hey, guess what? I'm gonna have to withdraw my name. I am not interested joining Schalke." He probably saw what was going on over there, the dumpster fire, and said, "Hey, I don't want any of it." Right? You can't blame him, right? He's a young manager who's still learning his way in the managerial craft. If you want to go to a place that's stable, that has some potential going on there, not much to fix, in the crazy department. You can just, make some train up some players and stuff like that. That's more suited for Raul. I don't think he's a player who could, or a manager comes in and can right the ship the way that Schalke needs at the moment. So I don't begrudge Raul's turning it down. I mean, I could see why he would turn it down, and so naturally, Schalke fans are going to be disappointed about that. But we did get a bit of a nugget. We did get a bit of a nugget on the manager front. We don't know who the manager is, right? There's still a bunch of options you can do, and there's so many. Followed all the reporters, talking about Schalke, and they've all said there's like so many names are being thrown at them, they just can't keep up with it, right? There's you think of a name, it'll probably be in the mix. But the one nugget we did get, it says the new coach will celebrate his debut on Thursday, October 12th, 1 p.m. at Parkstadion. The test opponent will be Heracles Almelo. Now, why October 12th? You thought, we're like, Matthias Kreutzer is the manager. What's going on here? Well, Matthias Kreutzer doesn't have the right license to be the manager for Schalke or to be a top level coach. So he only gets 15 days as manager. And so his 15 days are up October 11th. I think he only has an A license in terms of manager, so he doesn't have all the credentials needed. So his 15 days expires on the 11th. He got the one game. He'll also get the game against Hertha Berlin this weekend. That's who we're playing, Hertha Berlin. But yeah, his contract, his 15 days are up on October 11th. So thus, a new manager has to play, to be in charge. Is it Buskins? Is it Asamoah? Or is it someone from the outside? You would think it'd be someone from the outside. The international break just so happens to fall on the weekend of the 12th. So it lines up so far with everything that checks out. But all the guys, I said that they've had so many names thrown at them, they can't keep track of everything that's going on. So on top of all of this, we're looking at possibly getting a new sporting director, and it's going back to my comment about Ralf Rangnick, where he had issues with the supervisory board, and right now the supervisory board is very contentious at the moment. The name, what is his name? Reunert. He is the sporting director at Union Berlin, doing fantastic things with him, right? What he's done with that club with no money has been fantastic. And so that's one of the names that saying it's a long shot, I think. If he joins Schalke, I will be surprised. And another reason why it's a long shot, as I'm going to tell you here in a second, is that the supervisory board are apparently very against this move. And there's a strong opposition that's forming against the supervisory board. The similar group to that opposed the supervisory board when Ralf Rangnick was trying to get appointed, right? So what was the guy's name? Uli. Oh man, the name's escaping me now. Anyway, there's a group that are trying to get Reunert in there, and so we'll see if that ever happens. I don't believe it until I see it, right? Until we see his name officially announced as the new sporting director, I doubt it. That means that a lot of the supervisory board are going to have to quit or resign or whatever. And I don't buy it. But hey, it'd be nice. I mean, because like what he's done with Union Berlin in his time in charge has been fantastic. With no money, it's been really amazing to see what they've done there. So, but the circus, the wagon, this goes round and round. The wheel keeps going and going and going. Every day, it's a new story, a new angle. a new position that's being offered up to something else. We shall see. But the task at hand is Hertha Berlin on this Sunday, early game, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. That is what 1:30 p.m. In Germany. So it's an early game. We'll see what happens. It's the last game before the international break. Kreuzer's last game behind the bench, allegedly, and then a new man comes in during international break. New CEO as well, whomever that will be. I'm curious. Let us know your thoughts on who you think the new manager and new CEO will be, and do you think Runert will join Schalke? Will the supervisory lose out and the opposition get their man? We'll see. We'll see. Don't think it's Ralph. Don't throw Ralph Rangnick's name in there. That's a chances zero right there, right? But we'll see, And then it looks like they officially announced the St. Pauli match to be on the 31st of October, so on Halloween at St. Pauli, of course. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game against Hertha Berlin. We need to get the win here. We got to find a way to win. Hertha. We laughed at Hertha Berlin to start the season, how poor they were, and now they got 3 wins, and we only have 2. They're sitting at 9 points. We're at 7 points. We're in the relegation spot at the moment. Things are not well with Schalke. We'll see what happens. Get some bodies back, like I said, but the game against Hertha Berlin is the one that's at focus on hand. And just we get during the international break, we are playing Heracles, and then coming out of the break, we have Karlsruhe, Hanover, winnable games before the Pokal match against St. Pauli on the 31st. So. We'll see. We'll see. I'm sure there's gonna be much more news popping here between now and that next game, the first game after the international break against Karlsruhe. So hell, this in the next week alone, there'll be news popping along. So sit back, get something to drink, preferably hard liquor or something like that, or beer, and just try to watch the show happen and just go with the flow, right? What are we doing these days? What are we doing? The one bit of bright news I will say, shout out to Eric, who's actually on the chat. He said, posted a picture on our Discord, and it's our dear good old friend Malik Chow. He's now with AC Milan, and they were playing, where the yellow wall is, just nearby Gelsenkirchen, and in true Schalke fashion, he wore all blue to the Signal Iduna Park in warm-ups. That's beautiful. I love Malik Chow. Miss him. We could use him right now. We could certainly use him right now. Defense is very porous, but and last bit of good news, Kozuki got 2 goals for the U23s against Paderborn, so it's nice to see that he's got back on track. Maybe he gets an opportunity going forward, either for her again the Hertha Berlin match or coming out against Karlsruhe. But good to see Kozuki getting some goals in there. Hopefully, builds his confidence back. His confidence has been shot since that injury. He was flying high, full of confidence, got the injury, and just kind of set back. If he can get back to that confidence level he had before the injury, couple that with Asad Aldraogo, and then maybe Kabadai as well, third in the mix, gets these youngsters involved. Hey, maybe there's something there, right? With either have Polter or Tarota up top. And Jack and I both agree. We think give Polter a run out at the moment. Seems he do a little bit more than Tarota. Both can score goals, so we'll see. But yeah, we're gonna keep this one short and sweet. Like I said, I was gonna do a podcast yesterday, but I got home, was feeling so tired. I said I'm gonna take a nap before the podcast, and passed out. 12 hours later, or I apparently 13 hours later, woke up and it's like, oh, missed that podcast. So here we are. So yeah, try to get the game on in the background. TV's not working, so it's how it is right now with Schalke fans, right? Nothing's working at the moment. So all right, I'm gonna get out of here. Kept this one short and sweet. We'll have a lot more to talk about in the coming days. If anything breaks in terms of manager, CEO, any of that stuff, we'll jump in and do a podcast or a video. But just want to get some of the news out. I'm not gonna really talk about the Paderborn match just because nobody wants to relive that, right? 3-1. Don't want to relive that. So let's move from that. Let's move forward. Look at Hertha Berlin, and let's get a win this weekend. So, all right. Enjoy the rest of your weekend here, especially before Schalke. And yeah, we'll catch you guys soon, whether it's on social media or here on the podcast. So until then, for Jack, for myself, enjoy your weekend. Glück auf.